Hey, Stephen Pearl is the associate head coach, and I think I offended him earlier this week when I texted him and asked him if he was on vacation. I said, "I don't want to interrupt your vacation. Would you join the show with us at some point?" And you weren't on vacation. It's June. You weren't on vacation like I thought you were.
Yeah, no, we were down in Orlando doing some recruiting, and yeah, I mean, I would have loved for you to have interrupted me on vacation, but unfortunately, it's turned into a 12-month sport, and we were down there watching some of the best prospects in the country, and trying to dodge some of those crazy thunderstorms down there. But now we're back in Auburn, and we got team camp. We got 70 high school teams a day in the next 2 days. So yeah,
Yeah.
just the grind goes on.
Yeah, at least you got a good lake that's very close that you can occasionally get out to.
There's no doubt.
Before we talk everything about this Auburn team and what's going on with the program, the announcement yesterday about Auburn getting to go to Cameron Indoor and play Duke, and just big picture. First off, in our state, when you go ACC SEC Challenge, in my head, I would always think Kentucky would get either Duke or North Carolina every year in this TV matchup, and then somebody else would get the other game against North Carolina Duke. Those are the premier spots, and Alabama gets the trip to North Carolina, and you get the premier spot. Auburn at Duke at Cameron Indoor. It's got to be a compliment to the program that ESPN says that's the matchup.
Yeah, I mean, I think it speaks volumes and it shows some recognition for, what we've been able to accomplish since we've been at Auburn, specifically, the last 7 years. We won 4 championships, been to a Final Four. I think in those 7 years, we're one win behind Tennessee in total wins. So, I mean, I think, the SEC is recognizing, us for the fact that, we've been one of the top two or three teams in our league, pretty consistently for the last 7 years. And, with the team that we have coming back, they felt like we had earned the right and the opportunity to play in the premier, probably the premier home court in all of college basketball in Cameron Indoor Stadium. So, I don't think an SEC team, I saw something on Twitter the other day, has been in Cameron Indoor since like the late 90s, and like Florida went and played there. So, I think it's a tremendous honor. Obviously, Duke's a historic program. They're going to be loaded with talent again next year. So, but I'm glad it's this year's team that's going in there when, we have a pretty an older, more of a veteran team going in there. But still, the only player that's ever played in Cameron Indoor Stadium on our roster is Miles Kelly. So it's going to be, an eye-opening experience for our guys. And but what a tremendous opportunity for our team, our university, and our fans to be able to, enjoy something like that.
A big addition to Miles recently to that team. I hope next year it's Duke at Auburn. So I mean, you talked about that atmosphere. I think when the national folks come to Neville Arena, that's the comparison people walk away with the most. Am I right?
Yeah, and I think that's why, College Game Day has been here four straight years. It's because Neville Arena has turned into one of the best home court advantages in all of college basketball. We've only lost 3 games here in the last 3 years. So it just speaks volumes to the home court advantage that we've created. And yeah, I mean, it would be amazing for us to, be able to continue to perform at a high level. So next year in the ACC SEC Challenge, we do get a Duke or a North Carolina or a Virginia or, one of those premier programs in that league to come in to Neville. It's obviously headline the ACC SEC Challenge.
Steven, the roster is being finalized. You guys are filling those spots. But one thing for your program that has always been understood is that 13th scholarship spot has been left available. And I'm curious, was there a situation that your dad ran into in the past where he needed that 13th spot and couldn't have it? What's the deal? Is there a story behind why you guys emphasize keeping it open?
Well, the story he uses now is that he always wants to award a walk-on, with the scholarship. But when I was playing, that was a bunch of BS because I was walking on for him and I was promised that scholarship like 3 different times. And it ended up going to guys like Tobias Harris and guys that he would just recruit over me. But no, it's in today's day and age, it's really hard to keep 13 guys happy on scholarship. If you get 13 really good players, you're going to run into some serious issues. You could run into some serious issues in the locker room with chemistry, guys not being happy with playing time, and then you're going to end up losing a lot of those guys in the transfer portal. So our philosophy has been, trying to keep 11, 12 guys on scholarship that we feel are all capable of playing minutes and letting them compete. We just feel like 13 is too many. And then on top of that, since we've been at Auburn, we've been able to award a scholarship to a walk-on every single year. Guys like Leor Berman, Carter Sabera, and we'll probably do that again this year with one of our walk-ons. And they've been such a huge part of our success, the last 10 years, because our scout team, we feel like has been one of the better scout teams that we've, over the years that we've been successful, we've had a really good scout team. So we want to reward those guys, and we want to give, kids that want to walk on here incentives to come here, because there's a chance that you could be put on scholarship one day. Jalen Harper, Jared Harper's brother last year. So, those are just key examples of guys that, we've put on scholarship. But it's really hard in today's day and age with the transfer portal to keep that many guys happy.
Yeah, going off of that, we talk a lot about roster management in this day and age, like you said, of transfer portal, NIL. With a roster that Auburn has, it's steeped in talent. As a coach, how do you determine rotations and just manage a roster right now?
Yeah, I mean, obviously in the summer, it's really up to them and on them to, carve out their roles, and they're going to do that on and off the court. So, guys that are in the gym constantly putting that extra work, that extra time in, obviously they're going to get a nudge if it's close at a certain position. We'll look at grades if it's close at a certain position. If a guy's doing a better job in the classroom than someone else and it's close, we'll give the edge to the guys taking care of his business on and off the court. So, I think the kids do a majority of the work in working those things out, and then we as a staff obviously have to look at which combinations play better together. Last year I thought we did a really good job with that. We had one of our best players, Chad Baker, came off the bench last year because we felt like he was better with that second group. And, we had one of the most efficient benches. Like that 5-man lineup at one point we talked about on the show was the most efficient lineup in the country late in the season. So, I think that's part of it too, and understanding your roster, like who plays better with a certain point guard, who plays better with a certain 5-man, and then just trying to come at you in waves. So, it's a little bit on the guys. Actually, it's a lot on the guys, but then obviously it's on us to determine, which lineups work the best together.
Our buddy Justin Hokanson with Auburn Live called this roster maybe the most versatile in Coach Pearl's career at Auburn. Last year you played a lot of players. When he uses the word versatile, do you see the ability to match up the players in a wide variety of ways? Is that why that word is used? Do you see that with this roster?
I just think we have multiple guys this year that can play multiple positions. And you look at Denver Jones, he's a guy that can play the 2 and the 1 for us. Miles Kelly is a kid that can play the 2 and the 3 for us. Chris Moore can play the 3 and the 4. Janai Broom can play the 4 and the 5. So I think we have a lot of versatility in the fact that we can plug and play guys at different spots in different, areas. And they're older, so obviously it'll be easier for them to pick up on things. Guys that are returning obviously understand the offense to a different level, so it'll be easier to ask them to play multiple positions. But yeah, I mean, we're going to have I think we have 10 seniors this year, which is just, absurd. But older veteran guys allows you the ability to kind of move them around a little bit. Tahad Pettiford as a freshman, like he could play 1 and 2 as well. So I mean, it just shows you that we have guys with versatility to play multiple positions. So it's a good problem to have. When you don't have to pigeonhole guys at certain positions, you can kind of let them play into what they're most comfortable at.
Speaking of veteran status, JP Pegues is one of those guys. What was the upside to adding him to the roster beyond his experience?
I mean, looking at his numbers, I was just really intrigued because he averaged 18 and a half points per game, but he did it at such an efficient level. We looked at other point guards in the portal and guys, that were ranked higher than him, but scored less points and were less efficient and didn't have as high of an assist rate and had a higher turnover rate. Like he scored at a high rate, shot good percentages, assisted at a high rate, didn't turn the ball over a lot, and he was the primary option on that team. So, just looking at him, I thought he was a really good analytic fit for what we needed. He's obviously a veteran that has played a lot of minutes. He's played in some really big games. When they came here and scrimmaged us last year, he was the only guy on their team that was able to do anything against our defense last year. So we got an early look at him then. So he's going to be a really good piece for us. He hasn't showed the ability to score yet in practice like we've seen at Furman, but I think he's right now just trying to obviously understand the offense and figure out where he fits in, and then the rest of that stuff will kind of take care of itself. But obviously, like as soon as he went in the portal, it was the day of the Yale game, and I never call prospects on the day of games. And I said, listen, I'm calling you because, we've identified you as one of the best point guards in the portal, and we want you to know that, obviously we hope this is an option for you. So that spoke volumes to him that we were the first one to call him during the NCAA tournament. So really excited about JP and his abilities to obviously do some great things for us at that point guard position.
Okay, before you go, I talk a lot. I get about 50% of the stuff I say correct on a good day. But I don't keep good secrets. I want to compliment Emily Grace and Taylor, who's working right over there. They both were at the On the Victory party here in town, fundraiser for the NIL. They came back, Stephen said nice things at the podium, and he said something that we're not going to tell you, Dunaway, but at some point there's going to be a big announcement coming about Auburn basketball. And they've yet to tell me. We've yet to tweet it, send it out, but we're waiting. So you let us know when it's time. I just want to give them a compliment because they said you glanced at them that night. You were expecting them.
You called us out.
I did. I had to. They were back in the back, like cheesing because I said something, and I was like, "All right, listen, you two, like keep a secret." And I will say, like, this is the best looking set that we've had at the next round, minus you, Jim, in a very long time. So, I mean, I feel like you guys are probably making a lot more money this week than you ever have before with the girls that are obviously filling in and who are much more talented, than the rest of the crew. But no, it's we will have some, good scheduling nuggets coming out here pretty soon. And obviously, once we do know those, I'll definitely give you guys a little bit of insight. But it is a game in Birmingham, which is obviously been really good for us in the past, and obviously very excited to obviously fill up that beautiful arena and get our fans in Birmingham and in the northern parts of the state a little more love and being able to see the Tigers, since getting in Neville Arena has turned into a difficult task. So. Yeah, I'm proud of them for keeping their secret, but we'll have some hopefully some big news coming out here pretty soon once the contracts are signed.
LT and Brown just wanted it to be an all-girls show this week, so the three of us who have done the show. Yes, very much so. All right, Stephen Pearl, Associate Head Coach, Auburn Basketball. Team camps and the off-season workouts, and before you know it, we'll be deep into another run with another top 10 team down at Auburn. Coach, thank you for the time. Enjoy a little sunshine at some point on that lake, okay?
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys. We'll talk soon.
Stephen Pearl right there with us on the JohnsonRVCenter.com hotline.